Hello! What's going on, you guys? I am super pumped. Today is the day that my friend finally ditches his 2008 Mac and joins us in the PC Master Race. Now, there's two reasons I'm building this PC for my good buddy. And the first reason, without getting too personal, is he's going to be going back to school pretty soon, so he's going to need something a little better than his 2008 Mac for the field that he's going into. And number two being, I just like to be able to play some PC games with my best friend. Now, while this PC that I'm going to build for him today is not going to be top of the line, because, well, I can't even afford a top of the line system for myself, it will game, and it will game hard. So let this be a lesson to all you out there. If you want a free PC from me, all you got to do is be a good friend of mine for 20 years, go on many successful MMO raids with me, and decide to make some positive changes in your life. Like I said, I'm super pumped for this, so enough dilly-dallying. Let's talk about the heart of the system real quick, and then we'll get on into it. Now, this here is an ASRock B365M Pro 4. And if I'm being honest with you, the only reason I chose this board is because it was the only B360 or B365 board that I could find that actually had a 3-pin 5-volt ARGB header. Now, I have already tested this board and the CPU and RAM and everything to make sure it works. Why? Well, I got this motherboard from AliExpress. Now, this board was 100% ripped out of a pre-built from some Chinese company named Thunder Robot. And I knew that right away because the BIOS was a special Thunder Robot version of the BIOS. Not only that, it was in Chinese. But luckily, I took a semester of Chinese. I'm just kidding, I don't know any Chinese. There was a setting right down at the bottom that I could clearly tell was the language setting, so that really wasn't a big problem. And against ASRock's advice, I went ahead and updated the BIOS to a regular version of the BIOS anyway. So it is up and running, everything's good to go, so we can just pop it right in the case. As far as the CPU I got in here, we got the i5 9600K. Again, I wish I could give him a much better CPU than this, but I'm not a rich man, and he's getting this for free. As far as the RAM, we got 16 gigabytes of Team Group Vulcan Z DDR4, and I really wish it was going to be running at the full 3200 megahertz, but B365 doesn't actually support XMP overclocking, so we're going to be going 2666, which really sucks. But to get 2666 RAM was no more expensive than the 3200 megs RAM, so I just went ahead and did that, because who knows, maybe he'll be able to use them in the future or something. But yeah, there's the foundation of his entrance into the PC Master Race, so let's go ahead and throw it in the case. Alright, and here's our case. It's a Zalman P10 White. I gave him a couple different options as far as cases went, and this is the one that he chose, so that's the one I got. This was about 55 bucks on Amazon, I think. I don't really remember. But it does look like kind of a decent little micro ATX tank PC. Which is good, because we are going to need lots of space for his EVG 1080. Honestly, it's good foam, at least. The metal feels a little cheap here. You know, honestly, I expected this case to be a little bit heavier, but it does have some heft to it, but I think most of that is from the glass, really. Man, they really put a big old wrap on this thing. Okay. Alright. Let's get you out of here. It's not a bad looking case, honestly. It's a pretty cool little micro ATX case, especially for the price. I do wish there was a little more space for cable management, but at least for, you know, the $50-$55 range, we're at least getting a, basement power supply here, so you don't have to look at it. We do have USB-C on there, so great. Not that our motherboard has that connection anyway, so who cares? But again, who knows? Maybe, he is just so freaking into being a PC guy that he says, I gotta upgrade now. So I'm doing the best that I can to set him up to join us. These are capture screws, so that's good. Freaking hate side panel screws that come out. It's so easy. Make them capture screws. Come on. And it's got a GPU support bracket, so that is a really nice feature. And it comes with one fan. We do have space down here for 3 120s, but I only actually have 4 fans for him, so I'm just gonna be doing 2 on the bottom and 2 on the top, since This is really just gonna be dead space anyway, so it's got one of these little trapdoor GPU brackets. Not the biggest fan of those, but it's better than nothing. Nice quiet little power button. It's not bad. It's quaint. It is a heck of a lot better than that Temu PC. Whoever did this twisty tie should be fired. That was easy. This is child's play. You definitely don't work for Thermalright. That's how I can tell this is a Zalman. The weakness of the twisty ties. Dun, 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 dun. By the way, I think Dawood would be pretty proud of AliExpress Tape Man here. It's not the legendary AliExpress Tape Man, but it's a pretty good AliExpress Tape Man. And they did actually give me a brand new I/O shield, so that was pretty cool. Okay, it's actually in. Finally. Now we put in motherboard. And I've never actually had one of these B360 or 365 boards, or any Intel 9th Gen boards. So I'm pretty interested to find out. I know it's upside down, but so maybe this joke won't land upright. But whatever the hell Elna Audio is, who is Elna anyway? What's her sign? What's her deal? Does she like wine coolers? Alright, so since this is only 9th Gen Intel 9600K and a 1080, we don't need fancy smancy cooling here. I'm gonna put the cooler on later, but we also don't need fancy smancy fans. So I figured, why not save a little money so I can spend a little more on the motherboard and be able to have the RGB header and do a little repurposing and do the next best thing. Imitation fancy schmancy. So we're just gonna repurpose the Temu PC fans because I don't know about you guys, I still really wanna see these frickin' things light up. So now we can do that. Yay! The fact that these are reverse plates too, that's just too perfect. Temu's fun. I like Temu. It's a bunch of crap, but it's fun. It's fun to fool around with cheap crap. I mean, if you want imitation fancy schmancy, then we have to have reverse blade. You can't do imitation fancy schmancy with non-reverse blade, then you're just doing imitation. You know what I mean? Time for the top. Okay, so fans are all in and wired up. So let's go ahead and put the paste and the cooler on. And when it comes to the paste, only the best for my best bud. And for the cooler, I figured this would be a good time to go ahead and try out the new Thermalright Assassin King. And I really, really like the heatsink on this thing. It just feels good. Like you can actually run your fingers on it and it doesn't bend the fins. So for, what was this, 20-25 bucks? This feels like it's Thermalright, so we know it's gonna be at least a half decent cooler. Zang! For the power supply, I'm going to give him this 850 watt gold that I did a video on earlier from Pointware. And I have actually hit this thing with a multimeter and extensively tested since, and it's definitely a solid power supply. It's definitely way overkill for a 9600K and a 1080. But this is the only spare power supply that I have right now, other than the Temu PC one, which is non-modular and only has one PCIe cable, so that's not going to work at all for our EVGA 1080. But I also wanted to give him something that was at least modular and something that now he can grow into, should he choose to. So, well, let's pop her in. And now that we can face this RGB fan down, maybe he'll get a little nice, cool little floor aesthetic going. A little neon magic. It's gonna look like Need for Speed, Night Madness, whatever the heck that game was called. Midnight Club? Yeah, there you go, Midnight Club. I gotta be honest, for being a Zalman, this case is actually not that bad. It's actually really easy to build in, and the cable management space was quite better than I thought, actually. But Zelman's a brand that I have heard of, but it's usually, synonymous with cheap crap, considering I got this for less than $60. And it's a fish tank PC. But, yeah, not bad. But some of the metal is kind of thin and pretty cheap. So as far as BeezyTech goes, this is not a case that I would consider for one of our store builds. Of course, if somebody wants to go the custom route and specifically requests this case from us, we're not going to say no. It's your choice. But it's all wired up and ready to go. We just got to pop the graphics card into this and then we can boot her up. Now here's the powerhouse herself, which you may remember from the video where I actually broke the LED wire and had to solder a new one on. But yep, she's going to my best bud. So let's pop her on in and boot this bad boy up. And this PCIe bracket is actually another reason why I would not consider this case for one in our pre-built shop. This bracket is honestly not super sturdy. And if it wasn't for that, I'd probably want to rig something else up on this. Whew, that was tough to get in. It's like an obstacle course. I know you're sagging. Hold on, I'm a-coming. So now that I see how this truly works, that's actually not a bad little feature. Still very plasticky. Feels pretty cheap, but not bad, Zelman. Alright, so let's talk expectations for what's going to happen when I hit this button. Now, I've already tested it with the CPU, the motherboard, the RAM, the cooler, and this same power supply. So I have no reason to think that this is not going to boot perfectly fine with our new updated BIOS, and we'll get right into Windows 10, because we're using the Temu hard drive here. The only thing I'm worried about is the fans, and honestly the RGB, with having 6 fans running off just one 5-volt header. Anyways, here we go. It all worked perfectly. Heck yeah. Man, I honestly would leave these lights just the way they are. This thing looks pretty freaking sweet. I'm a good friend. However, since this is the Temu hard drive in here with Windows 10, I would like to ship this over to him. He actually lives down in Texas. I would like to ship this down to him with Windows 11 on it. And right now he's actually asleep, so I need his Microsoft account to set this all up for him. So I'm gonna shut down, go ahead and go to bed myself now, and we'll come back tomorrow and see what he can expect as far as performance out of this thing. So for what it is, being a pretty extreme budget build, I think it looks pretty good, but I think it's missing something. I know what it is.
Oh yeah.
Alright, so obviously this behemoth of a rig would easily crush all these top scores, but just for poops and grins anyways, I kind of want to hit this thing with a time spy real quick. But looking at Task Manager, OBS is stealing a good bit of our resources here, so I'm going to turn that off. But it really sucks that it's going to pull that away from when we're gaming on this thing later. So I'm going to have to film this on my phone, which, side note, I'm not that great at. I don't really know the trick to doing it, so if anybody knows it, please drop a comment and let me know. look at that. Even with our outclassed CPU, we're above average. Alright, so let's see how some of the games that we're gonna be playing together are gonna do. I did tell him, since this, 1080 is kind of outclassing this 9600K a little bit, that he should definitely needs a 1440p monitor. So we're gonna play in 1440. AMD giving Nvidia the finger again by the 1080 GTX 1080 being able to use AMD FSR. Really can't make use of the frame gen. Like you can turn on FSR frame gen on a 1080, but it's gonna look like this. Really bad. And we're on the high preset. Here we go. I think this is a boss. Yeah, that's a boss. I remember this guy. This guy's a pain in the Last time I was playing it on hard with a friend though. This time I think I'm playing on medium. Creepy crawlers. Die. Yeah. Not a moment too soon. So it doesn't seem like OBS is really affecting us too bad. I mean, we're getting a pretty steady 60 and 1440, so that's pretty good. But that CPU usage is getting pretty high, but at least the temperatures, I mean, our temperatures are doing fantastico. This is great. Ooh, that's not a nice dip. It's still playable though. Plus, I mean, we're on high settings, so we could always turn it down. This is a newer game. The load times are a little crappy, but it has nothing to do with the SSD. I think it's just because I'm running OBS right now. Because you can really tell the way the wheel just kind of pauses for a split second, like it's waiting for a thread to open up. I mean, look at that. We're hitting 100% with OBS now on, so yeah, OBS is definitely affecting this performance, unfortunately. But Windows is doing something in the background too, so it'll go down. See, there we go. Execute order 66%. Still overall not bad. Like, I would definitely game on this if somebody just gave it to me. I did actually do Time Spy with OBS on first, and the results were actually 5 less average FPS, and our total score was actually well below the average score. So yeah, OBS is definitely affecting this. All those AI frames. Make use of those non-existent tensor cores.
Yay, you're back.
This lady's got such an attitude. I can hear the eye roll like a teenage girl. That's enough of this game. Let's go try another game that I know we're going to be playing together, which is Red Dead Redemption 2. Or as the French say, duh? Is that it? Deux? I don't know. Alright, what do we got? Full screen, 165. Give me that performance. Unlock. Ugh. Never use Vulkan. Gross. Let's restart so we can get DirectX. There we go. D3D12. Whoever uses Vulkan, you're wrong. At least I don't know of any purposes that Vulkan is really better for. Well, that's not great. Alright, let's turn that down. There we go. That's better. I gotta restart again to apply changes? Come on. Alright. I turned off HDR and seems to be doing a little bit better. I personally think HDR makes the game look better. The whole kind of auto-adjusting the brightness by itself thing kinda, in my mind, it makes the game look better, but this still isn't bad. There's a lot of people that really don't like HDR though. Alright, so this is all fine and dandy. With OBS off, we get about another 5-6 FPS average. But the whole point of me really making this PC was kinda so that we could play this game online together, because as I said, it is dog on that PS4 and I refuse to play it on the PS4. So let's go ahead and see if I solve that problem. Even the cinematic FPS is already 10 times better. What is this? Opie from Sons of Anarchy, if he lived. I can't make my appearance before my name. Well, I kind of have a vision in mind, so we're gonna go Mustache Milfred. Wait, what? Profanity or unsupported characters? Mustache Milfred? Is it the MILF and Milfred? Really? Let's try this one. Oh, okay. Older. Oh, let's make him as dumb and looking as possible. That'll do. Can't see with this beard on. Oh yeah. Those choppers will do. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. It's Perfect. Facial hair stubble? Yes, stubble. Does it look like he stays perfectly groomed? Alright. He'll do. Unskippable cutscenes you don't care to watch are the worst. Oh my god, that is so much better. Holy cow. This is actually playable as compared to PS4, which is terribly unplayable. PC Master Race. God, even at these settings, it looks better than the PS4 version. I'm gonna say it again. PC Master Race. Oh man, I can't wait to get a better horse than this. Ah, you're killing me, OBS. Getting a little bottleneck every time it ramps up because of background window stuff. Who looks more ridiculous? This guy on the right? Or my character? So how many of you hit pause to write an angry comment when you heard I was only putting 16 gigabytes of RAM in this system? As if it was going to be playing at 4K ultra settings. Where's my scrawny nag? There he is. Come here, Petey. I'm gonna call you Petey. You look like a Petey. Can you, drive a little... Can I drive?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. Now you drive. Get out of the way. Your head is in my way the whole time, dude. I need a horse. Come here, Petey. Petey, you're really making me miss Horsey Jr. right now. I named my single-player story Horsey Jr. Because his father was obviously Horsey Sr., who died in a tragic accident. I ran off a cliff. Not on purpose. Get out of the way. You dead weight. Get it? Dead weight. I meant he was a really bad shot. I can tell nobody really plays this game anymore, at least not on PC. I did actually play it a little slight, I don't know, maybe like an hour or two on PS4 back in the day, and I tried like one or two of these missions. People killed me. Bunch of jerks. Well, kind of in the way, don't you think? Couldn't have moved it while I was gone? Wow, I had to go one more inch forward. Amazing. Alright, but like I said, the whole point was to actually play this with him. So I'm gonna go ahead and quit this game now and do one last game that I know he's got some interest in playing. I'm really interested to see if the CPU is really gonna be able to handle this one, because it's pretty CPU intensive, so I think you know what's coming. You knew this one was coming. It already doesn't seem to like it. There we go. Alright, what kind of settings do we have on right now? 1080, no. We want 1440, silly. Get rid of HDR. Alright. Let's see. Oh, well, that's not great. Yeah, that CPU is really getting hit hard. Okay, there we go. That's better. That's not bad. Oof. Ooh, no. Sometimes when there's a lot to render. Ooh, that's CPU usage. Yeah, I think he could, definitely benefit from a CPU upgrade, but honestly without OBS on it, it seems to not really do that, so I think he'll be okay. Definitely getting some bottlenecking going on in this game though. That's pretty unfortunate, since we were definitely able to play this on high when it was in our 5700 X3D build. Yeah, that's not great, but at least he's above 60 if he wants to play it, and hey, you can definitely get a 9700K for probably pretty cheap these days, so yeah, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and call it here. Alright, so was it the best performance ever? No, of course not. But hey, he's getting this just for the price of having to know me personally. And we still had room to turn the settings down too, so he should have no problem playing any game he wants to without any real problems. And this is going to be way more than enough for anything he's going to need to do school-wise. So all that's left to do now is pack it up, throw some Fragile stickers on it, and ship it on down to Texas. So other than that, make sure you guys go check out beeasybuilds.com. We just slashed our prices again in time for Black Friday and Christmas. And speaking of Christmas, we got the giveaway coming up at the end of November here. The winner's finally going to be chosen, so you still got a couple weeks left now to become a subscriber if you want a chance to win that PC. So I'll leave the link for that down below in the description, and until then, we'll see you guys next time.